FIFA is still trying to tie up several deals, including in the world's two largest countries, India and China. Now, according to multiple reports in Chinese media, state broadcaster CCTV was initially quoted between $250 and $300 million by FIFA for the rights. Even though that figure was later halved, there's been no report of a confirmed broadcast deal. China has a huge football fan base, and FIFA says TV, digital and social content around the 2022 World Cup reached close to 1.2 billion people in China, and almost half of all viewing on online platforms globally came from China. Now, China's team hasn't qualified, but the major issue appears to be the time difference with North America. For example, this game between Norway and France, featuring two of the tournament's biggest stars, is on at 3 p.m. in Boston. Well, that's 3 a.m. in China, and if there's less viewers, that means lower advertising revenue. It's a similar problem for India when it comes to time zones. Also, broadcasters are wary after the 2022 World Cup rights holder paid $60 million and only got half of that back in advertising revenue. Another sticking point is that the World Cup falls at the same time as the Women's Cricket T20 World Cup, and cricket is India's top sport. So what happens now? Well, a FIFA spokesperson told China's Global Times newspaper that discussions are ongoing and must remain confidential at this stage, and there are unconfirmed reports that a FIFA delegation is heading to Beijing for talks. Meanwhile, for India, a deal is expected to be announced later this week, but the highest offer so far has been $20 million, so it remains to be seen how much for. Well, let's get more on this. Tom Bason is Assistant Professor in Sport Management at Coventry University. Tom, welcome to the programme. Just how damaging would it be for FIFA and the World Cup as a brand if deals weren't agreed with major markets like China?
Good afternoon. Yeah, I think this is potentially very serious for FIFA. You know, we're talking about a very large proportion of the global market. FIFA talk about football bringing happiness around the world, and they talk about delivering audiences everywhere. And that doesn't really work if a big chunk of the world's population isn't able to watch. And the World Cup is coming up very quickly. FIFA are definitely going to want to get this sorted sooner rather than later. But I also think that the money that you're talking about, 250 million or so, that sort of money isn't going to make or break FIFA financially in the short term, but it could mean that FIFA takes a big hit to its reputation.
So, Tom, is this dispute about football and about time zones, or is it about the changing economics of sports broadcasting?
So I think those factors that you mentioned are really important. The fact that neither India or China will have teams at the World Cup, the fact that the games are going to be happening while most of the country are in bed, that's automatically going to lower the value of the rights in those countries. But yeah, I think we are starting to see changes to the global sports markets more broadly. In the last 20 years, we've seen rapid growth in the value of sports broadcasting rights. And that's something that's starting to level off now. And that's something we're seeing all over the world, not just in Asian markets. FIFA very much struggled to sell the broadcasting rights to their Club World Cup last summer. And so I think this levelling off is something that we are definitely starting to see.
And could this affect future negotiations when it comes to World Cup rights, particularly in emerging markets?
Yeah, and I think that's just potentially something that FIFA are going to be really concerned about. If China or India manage to reduce their costs, then other countries are going to start asking, why are we paying the full amount? Although we do have to remember that, you know, India and China will have far greater bargaining power than any other emerging countries.
Brilliant, Tom. Thanks for those insights. Tom Bason, Assistant Professor in Sport Management at Coventry University. So, Jeff, we'll see what happens with those rights. Back to you.